Introduction. Why does God isolate you before blessings? Life, my friends, is often like a stormy sea. You're caught in the waves, battling against the currents, trying to keep your head above water, all the while waiting for the breakthrough that feels so far away. It's in these moments, those quiet, solitary times, when you might start asking questions. Why me? Why now? Where am I going? You might feel like you've been abandoned, but let me tell you something profound. Isolation is not abandonment. Isolation is not punishment. It's preparation. You see, growth doesn't happen in the spotlight. It happens in the shadows. Think about the diamond. What makes it shine so brilliantly? Pressure. Immense pressure. Or consider the seed, buried deep beneath the soil in complete darkness. It doesn't wither there. It transforms, pushing through the dirt until it emerges, ready to face the light. That's what God is doing in your life when you're isolated. He's building you, refining you, and preparing you for the blessings ahead. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why does it have to feel so lonely? Why does it have to hurt so much? The truth is, discomfort is the birthplace of transformation. It's in those quiet, uncomfortable moments that you strip away the noise of the world, the distractions that keep you from hearing the whisper of God's guidance. It's in isolation that you discover who you really are, what you're made of, and, more importantly, who you're meant to become. When you're isolated, you're being called to a deeper level. God is removing the things that no longer serve you. He's creating space for something greater. You might feel like you're losing people, opportunities, or even parts of yourself, but trust this. Every loss is making room for the new. Think about pruning a tree. You don't cut away the branches to harm it, you do it so it can grow back stronger, fuller, more vibrant. That's what's happening to you. And let's not sugarcoat it. This process isn't easy. Transformation never is. But isolation isn't a setback, it's a setup. It's the foundation being laid for something extraordinary. And when you come out on the other side, you'll realize you weren't just waiting for the blessing. You were being prepared to handle it. You'll see that the solitude was shaping you into the kind of person who can not only receive blessings but steward them with wisdom, grace, and gratitude. So, why does God isolate you before blessings? Because the version of you who entered the storm isn't the version of you who can handle what's coming. God is building your strength, refining your faith, and expanding your vision. He's aligning your heart with His purpose and preparing you to step into the fullness of your destiny. My challenge to you is this: embrace the isolation. Don't resist it, lean into it. Trust that it's not happening to you, it's happening for you. Every quiet moment, every tear, every unanswered question is part of a divine process. You're being positioned for something greater than you can imagine. And when the blessing finally arrives, you'll know it was worth every moment of the wait. Let's dive into this journey together, exploring 10 powerful chapters that will illuminate why isolation often precedes blessings. Get ready to see the beauty in the solitude and the purpose in the pain. Your breakthrough is on the horizon. Chapter 1: The Clearing of Distractions. Let's get real for a moment. How often are you truly present in your life? Be honest. The world today is a non-stop assault on your attention. Notifications, social media, emails, endless to-do lists, all of it pulls you in 100 different directions at once. And here's the kicker: every single one of those distractions dilutes your focus, your energy, and ultimately your purpose. When you're isolated, it can feel like you've been stripped of everything: your routine, your relationships, your momentum. But let me reframe that for you. Isolation isn't a punishment. It's an invitation. It's God saying, let's clear the slate. Let's cut through the noise so you can hear my voice. Distractions are like static on a radio. You might catch a few words of the song, but you can't hear the melody. And that's how most people live, tuning into the wrong frequencies, caught up in the chaos, and missing the divine guidance that's been there all along. Isolation is God's way of turning down the volume on the world so you can finally tune into what really matters. Now, here's the truth you need to hear. Sometimes God allows the distractions to be stripped away because He knows you wouldn't do it on your own. That job you lost? That relationship that ended? That opportunity that slipped through your fingers? It wasn't rejection. It was redirection. God was removing the things that were keeping you from hearing Him clearly. And yes, it's uncomfortable. Feels like a loss. But in reality, it's a gift. Think about it this way: you can't fill a cluttered room with new treasures. You have to clear out the old, broken, and unnecessary first. That's what isolation does. It makes space. Space for clarity. Space for connection. Space for transformation. And this isn't just about listening to God. It's about listening to yourself. When the distractions are gone, you have no choice but to face the thoughts, emotions, and truths you've been avoiding. That's where growth happens. It's in those moments of stillness that you begin to understand who you are, what you want, and where you're meant to go. But here's the thing: clearing distractions is just the beginning. Once you've created that space, you have to protect it. You can't go back to the old patterns, the old noise. This is your chance to set boundaries, to prioritize what matters, and to align your life with your purpose. It's not easy, but nothing worth having ever is. So, let me ask you this: what distractions in your life are drowning out the voice of your destiny? What do you need to let go of so you can finally hear the whisper of divine guidance? Don't wait for isolation to force your hand. Choose now to clear the slate, to make space for what truly matters. Chapter 2: The Strengthening of Faith. Faith, my friends, isn't something you're born with, it's something you build. And let's be honest, faith doesn't grow when life is easy. It's not forged in the sunshine, it's forged in the storm. True faith is built in uncertainty, in those moments when the path ahead is completely unclear, and all you have to hold on to is trust in a plan greater than your own. That's why isolation is one of the most powerful tools God uses to strengthen your faith. Think about it. When everything is going your way, when the pieces of your life seem to fall perfectly into place, faith doesn't feel like a necessity. Why? Because you're relying on your own strength, your own understanding, and your own control. But the moment you're placed in isolation, when you can't see the way forward, when the people and circumstances you leaned on are stripped away, faith becomes your lifeline. Let me tell you something critical: isolation isn't a punishment. It's an opportunity. It's in this space of uncertainty, when all you can do is trust, that your faith muscles grow. And just like physical muscles, faith isn't built through comfort, it's built through resistance. Every unanswered prayer, every moment of doubt, every situation that seems impossible, that's your faith being stretched and strengthened. You see, God doesn't isolate you to make you weak. He isolates you to make you strong. Why? Because the blessings that are coming require resilience. They require unwavering trust. They require you to stand firm when the winds of life try to knock you down. And here's the truth: without faith, you'll crumble under the weight of your blessings. But with faith, you'll rise to meet them with confidence and grace. I want you to picture a shipbuilder crafting a vessel. Before the ship ever sets sail, it has to be tested. It's placed in rough waters to ensure it can withstand the storm. That's what isolation is for you. It's not about breaking you, it's about preparing you for the journey ahead. The blessings you're waiting for aren't just gifts, they're responsibilities. They'll challenge you, stretch you, and require you to lean on faith more than ever before. Now, let's talk about what happens in the isolation. This is where the magic is. When you have nothing left to hold on to, you realize you've been holding on to the wrong things all along. You begin to see that your strength doesn't come from external circumstances. It comes from within. It comes from the unshakable belief that God's plan is unfolding, even if you can't see it right now. So let me ask you, where in your life are you being called to trust? What situations are forcing you to lean on faith instead of control? Don't resist them. Embrace them. See them for what they are: an invitation to grow stronger, to trust deeper, and to step into the person you were created to be. Chapter 3: The Discovery of Identity. Let's cut through the noise for a second. Who are you when no one is watching? Not the version of you on social media, not the person your family, friends, or coworkers think you are, but the real you. When the applause stops, when the titles and achievements fade, when there's no one around to validate your worth, who are you? Isolation isn't just about being alone. It's about being stripped down to your essence. It's about discovering who you are at your core, and let me tell you, that discovery is powerful. Here's the deal. We live in a world obsessed with external validation. Likes, followers, promotions, compliments, they all create a false sense of identity. But when those things are gone, what's left? Isolation forces you to face that question. And yes, it's uncomfortable. It's raw. But it's in that rawness where the magic happens. God uses isolation as a sacred space to help you peel back the layers and rediscover the authentic you. You see, most people spend their entire lives living out someone else's script. They chase success, approval, or security, thinking those things define them. But let me be clear. Your identity isn't in what you do or what people think of you. Your identity is in who you are. Isolation is God's way of cutting through the noise and bringing you back to that truth. And here's where it gets interesting. In the quiet, you start to notice things. You recognize your strengths, those innate gifts and abilities that are uniquely yours. You see the values that matter most to you, the principles you stand on when no one else is around. But you also uncover your hidden fears, those doubts and insecurities that have been driving your decisions without you even realizing it. Let me tell you something, that self-awareness is priceless. Because when you understand your strengths, you step into your power. When you understand your fears, you reclaim your freedom. And when you align with your values, you live a life of integrity and purpose. That's what isolation gives you. It's not a punishment, it's a gift, a chance to reset, realign, and rediscover who you were created to be. Now let's talk about why this matters. The blessings that are coming into your life aren't random. They're tied to your identity, your purpose. But here's the thing, you can't carry those blessings unless you know who you are. If you try to handle them while living someone else's life or chasing external validation, you'll crumble under the pressure. But when you stand in your truth, when you embrace the person God designed you to be, you become unstoppable. You're ready to carry the blessings with strength and grace. So let me ask you, who are you when everything else is stripped away? Who are you without the titles, the accolades, the validation? Don't run from that question. Lean into it. Let isolation be the space where you uncover the real you. Because once you do, you'll see that you've been enough all along. Not because of what you've achieved, but because of who you are. This is your moment to step into your authenticity. Use this time to face yourself, to rediscover your strengths, and to let go of the fears that no longer serve you. When you do, you'll emerge not only ready to receive your blessings but ready to live as the person who was always meant to carry them. Chapter 4. The Pruning of Relationships. Let's get real. Not everyone in your life is meant to go where you're headed. That's a hard truth, isn't it? Some people are part of your story for a season, not a lifetime. But here's the thing, you can't reach your next level while holding on to relationships that weigh you down. Isolation often comes with the painful reality of losing people who no longer align with your purpose. And while it hurts, it's one of the most necessary steps in your journey toward growth and blessings. Think about a gardener pruning a tree. They cut away the dead branches, sure, but they also cut back some healthy ones. Why? Because pruning isn't about punishment, it's about optimization. It's about creating space for new growth. That's what God is doing in your life during these seasons of isolation. He's removing the relationships that no longer serve your purpose, that no longer add value to your journey. It's not to harm you, it's to prepare you for the next level. Now let's acknowledge the pain. Losing relationships is tough. These are people you've shared moments, dreams, and maybe even your deepest fears with. When they're no longer part of your life, it can feel like a piece of your heart has been ripped away. But here's what you need to understand. Every relationship in your life is either a bridge or a barrier. Some people will help you cross into your destiny, while others will hold you back, consciously or unconsciously. God knows the difference even when you don't, and isolation is His way of clearing the path. This isn't about blaming or resenting those who leave your life. In fact, it's quite the opposite. It's about gratitude for the role they played, for the lessons they taught you, and for the growth they inspired. But it's also about letting go. Clinging to relationships that no longer align with your purpose isn't loyalty, it's resistance. And resistance keeps you stuck. Here's where the beauty of this process comes in. As God removes the relationships that no longer align, He creates space for healthier, more aligned ones. These are the connections that will uplift you, challenge you, and walk with you into the next chapter of your life. But you can't welcome them if you're still holding on to what's behind you. So how do you navigate this pruning process? First, trust it. Trust that God sees what you can't, that He knows who and what belongs in your future. Second, release the guilt. You're not a bad person for outgrowing relationships. Growth is a natural part of life. And third, open your heart to what's ahead. The connections coming into your life are part of your blessing. They'll resonate with the person you're becoming, not the person you were. Let me ask you this: who in your life is helping you grow and who is holding you back? Be honest with yourself. This isn't about judgment, it's about alignment. Trust the pruning process. Trust that every loss is making room for something greater. And remember, the relationships that belong in your next chapter will meet you there. Let go of what no longer serves you, and watch how God fills the space with people who elevate, empower, and align with your destiny. Chapter 5. The Building of Character. Here's a truth that might sting. Blessings aren't given just because you want them. They come when you're ready to handle them. And readiness isn't about talent or skill, it's about character. Because let me tell you something, blessings without integrity are a recipe for self-destruction. This is why isolation isn't just a waiting room, it's a workshop. It's where God works on you, refining the qualities that will not only help you receive your blessings but sustain them. Think about this for a second. Patience, humility, gratitude, these aren't qualities we're born with. They're forged through experience, often in the tough moments when life feels unfair or uncertain. And let's be honest, when you're in isolation, patience feels like the last thing you want to practice. You're asking, why is this taking so long? Why am I stuck here? But here's the truth. Patience isn't just about waiting. It's about what you do while you wait. It's about trusting that the delay isn't denial, it's preparation. Let's talk about humility. The world tells you to chase accolades, climb the ladder, and prove your worth. But isolation teaches you something different. It shows you that you're not in control, and that's okay. True humility isn't thinking less of yourself. It's understanding your place in the bigger picture. It's realizing that your blessings aren't just about you, they're about how you'll use them to serve, inspire, and uplift others. Isolation humbles you so that when the blessings come, you approach them with reverence, not entitlement. And then there's gratitude. Let's get real. Gratitude doesn't always come naturally, especially when you're struggling. But isolation has a way of stripping everything down to the essentials. You start to appreciate the little things, the breath in your lungs, the lessons in the struggle, the strength you're building day by day. Gratitude transforms the way you see your life. It shifts your focus from what's missing to what's already abundant. And when you live in that state of gratitude, you become a magnet for more blessings. Here's the big picture. Isolation isn't about testing your limits, it's about stretching them. It's about building a foundation of character so strong that no blessing, no success, no challenge can shake it. Without this process, blessings can actually become burdens. Think about people who've achieved wealth, fame, or power without the character to sustain it. They crumble under the weight because they didn't have the integrity to support what they received. That won't be you. So how do you lean into this process? Start by recognizing isolation as a gift, not a punishment. Ask yourself, what qualities is this season teaching me? Where am I being called to grow? Then commit to the work. Patience, humility, gratitude, these aren't just nice words. They're the bedrock of a life that thrives. This is your workshop. This is where God is shaping you into the person who can handle the blessings that are coming. Trust the process. Trust the growth. And remember, the character you build now will carry you to heights you can't even imagine. Chapter 6. The Expansion of Vision. Have you ever noticed how hard it is to dream big when you're caught up in the chaos of everyday life? When you're running from one task to the next, just trying to keep your head above water, there's no time to step back and ask, what's truly possible for me? That's why isolation is so powerful. It's not a punishment, it's an opportunity. It's the space where your vision expands, where the limits you once believed in dissolve, and where God plants seeds for something far greater than you ever imagined. Let's break this down. Most of us are living with tunnel vision, focused only on what's right in front of us. We're so consumed by the immediate challenges, the current problems, and the limited resources that we can't see the bigger picture. But isolation disrupts that pattern. It slows you down. It strips away the distractions. And in that stillness, something incredible happens. You start to see beyond your current circumstances. This is where clarity is born. In isolation, you begin to separate what truly matters from what doesn't. You get a front row seat to your dreams, your values, and your purpose. The noise of the world fades, and for the first time, you hear the whisper of your soul, and the whisper of God. And what does He do? He starts showing you glimpses of a future that's bigger, bolder, and more extraordinary than anything you've dared to dream before. But let me tell you this, an expanded vision isn't comfortable. It's exhilarating, yes, but it's also intimidating. Why? Because a God-sized vision is always bigger than your current capacity. It's supposed to stretch you. It's supposed to challenge you. It's supposed to make you think, how in the world am I going to do this? And that's the point. Because the vision isn't about what you can do on your own, it's about what you can do when you partner with God. Here's the thing, your vision shapes your future. If you can't see it, you can't pursue it. That's why isolation is such a gift. It's the space where your mind can wander, your imagination can soar, and your heart can align with God's plan. It's where you go from thinking small to thinking limitlessly. Let me ask you this. When was the last time you truly allowed yourself to dream? Not just to plan for tomorrow, but to envision a life so extraordinary that it takes your breath away? If it's been a while, it's time to reconnect with that part of you. Isolation is giving you the space to do just that. Don't waste it. This isn't just about dreaming for the sake of it. It's about creating a roadmap for your life. When you come out of this season of isolation, you'll have a vision so clear, so powerful, that it will act like a compass, guiding every decision you make. And when the blessings arrive, you'll be ready, not just to receive them but to use them to fulfill the vision you were given. So, embrace this time of stillness. Let your imagination run wild. Let your dreams grow bigger than your fears. And trust that the seeds of vision being planted now will grow into something far beyond anything you could have ever envisioned on your own. This is your moment to expand your vision and step into a future that's truly limitless. Chapter 7. The Testing of Obedience. Here's one of the toughest lessons you'll ever face in your journey. Obedience isn't optional if you want to experience the fullness of your blessings. It's easy to trust and follow when everything's going your way, when the rewards are immediate and the path is clear. But what about when the road gets tough, when it's inconvenient or even painful? Will you still obey? Will you trust God's plan even when it doesn't align with your timing, your preferences, or your comfort zone? Isolation, my friends, is where that test of obedience is most profoundly felt. It's in those quiet, difficult moments when you feel most alone that your willingness to surrender is truly tested. There are no immediate rewards. There are no applause, no recognition, no sign that your obedience is leading you anywhere. And yet, in that moment, God is watching. He's observing how you respond to the stillness. Will you stay the course? Will you keep trusting when nothing seems to be moving? This is the trial of obedience. Let's talk about what obedience really means. It's not just about following a set of rules or doing what you're told. It's about aligning your heart and actions with a greater plan, a purpose that goes beyond your own understanding. Obedience means surrendering your will, your timeline, and your desires to God's. It's the willingness to take the step even when you don't have all the answers, to trust that He's leading you to something far greater than you could ever orchestrate on your own. And let me tell you, this kind of obedience is not for the faint of heart. It's not easy. It challenges you. It calls you to let go of control. It asks you to step into the unknown, not knowing how things will turn out, but believing in the process. God is shaping you in these moments. He's testing your heart, your faith, and your willingness to surrender fully to His plan. But here's what I want you to understand. Obedience always leads to elevation. The testing of your obedience isn't about God trying to punish you or make things harder. It's about preparing you for something greater. It's about refining your character and building the resilience you'll need to handle the blessings He's preparing for you. If you can't trust and obey when it's hard, how will you manage when the rewards arrive? Think about it. There's a reason why every successful person has faced a period of testing. They've been through the fire. They've walked through seasons of uncertainty where they didn't see the outcome but chose to trust the process anyway. They surrendered their need to control, their need for instant gratification, and instead allowed their faith to guide them. Now let me ask you this. In your life, where are you being called to trust and obey? What is God asking you to do that feels difficult or inconvenient? Maybe it's taking a leap of faith, letting go of a relationship, or stepping into an unknown opportunity. Whatever it is, this is your chance to prove to yourself that you trust the process. To show God that you're willing to follow His lead, even when it doesn't make sense. Obedience isn't about knowing the outcome, it's about trusting the journey. And I promise you, every act of obedience, no matter how small, will lead you to a breakthrough. So lean into this test. Surrender. Trust. Obey. And know that your willingness to do so will set the stage for the blessings that are on their way. Chapter 8. The Preparation of the Vessel. Here's a truth that might hit you like a freight train. The blessings you're praying for cannot come into your life until you are prepared to receive them. You see, it's not enough to just want something. You have to be ready, mind, body, and spirit, to handle what God is about to entrust you with. And that preparation happens in the quiet, often difficult moments of isolation. It's during these seasons that God is refining you, cleaning you, and strengthening you to be the vessel capable of holding the very blessings you've been asking for. Think about this. If you were to take a beautiful, precious liquid, let's say oil, and pour it into a dirty vessel, it would become tainted. It would lose its purity. It would never fulfill its true purpose. Now imagine that vessel as you. In isolation, God is cleaning you. He's removing the impurities, the doubts, the fears, and the insecurities that would prevent you from holding and carrying your blessings with integrity. He's preparing you to be a clean and strong vessel, one capable of not just receiving the gifts but managing them, using them, and appreciating them to their fullest. This is why isolation feels uncomfortable. It's a time of intense inner work. It's not always about what's happening around you. It's about what's happening within you. Just as a goldsmith refines gold by melting it down to its purest form, God uses isolation to strip away everything that doesn't align with your highest purpose. The flaws, the habits, the patterns that have held you back, they're all being purified. God is shaping you into the person you need to be to carry the weight of your blessings. Now, here's the thing. Many people want the blessings, but they don't realize the cost of carrying them. Every blessing has weight. Every gift carries responsibility. That's why the preparation of the vessel is so important. You can't carry a heavy load if your foundation is weak. You can't steward wealth, success, or relationships if you haven't been equipped to handle them. This is the time where you need to ask yourself, what part of me needs to be refined? Where am I not ready to fully receive what God has for me? The reality is, God doesn't give us blessings we can't handle. He loves you too much to give you something that will overwhelm you or take you off course. So trust the process. Trust that the isolation you're in right now is God's way of getting you into shape for something greater. The key to handling blessings is being able to hold them without losing yourself in the process. Imagine a cup that's fragile and cracked. It could be filled, but it will soon spill over, leaving the contents wasted. You're being strengthened right now, not just for the sake of the blessing, but for your ability to handle it with grace, wisdom, and humility. This is a time of refining, not just for the external things in your life, but for your internal capacity. God is making you into someone who can be trusted with the very things you've been praying for. So embrace this season of preparation. Don't rush it. Don't fight it. Let God clean you, strengthen you, and mold you into the person who can hold the blessings that are waiting for you. And remember this: you are becoming the vessel that is worthy of your blessings. Stay faithful to the process, stay open to the lessons, and when the time comes, you'll be ready to receive and handle all that God has prepared for you. This is your moment to be refined. Trust it. Embrace it. Because you're about to carry more than you ever imagined. Chapter 9: The Revelation of Purpose. There's something incredibly powerful that happens when you're in isolation, something that shakes you to your core. It's the moment when everything finally clicks, when the fog lifts and you see the bigger picture. You realize that your life has always had purpose, and that the trials, the struggles, the pain you've endured were not just random occurrences. No, they were all part of a divine curriculum, designed specifically to prepare you for the person you are becoming and the blessings that are on their way. Listen closely. Purpose is not something you find when everything is easy. It's forged in the fire of adversity, the heat of struggle, and the tension of uncertainty. It's when you're in the depths of isolation, when you're facing what seems like insurmountable challenges, that you begin to see how everything, every trial, every setback, has been shaping you for something greater. When you look back at your journey, you might have asked yourself, why me? Why this? But in isolation, you start to realize that it wasn't random. Every painful experience has been a step toward unlocking your purpose. The heartbreak, the rejection, the failures, they were all refining you, preparing you for what's coming. You were being shaped for the moment you're about to step into. In isolation, you gain a clarity that wasn't available to you in the noise of everyday life. You're no longer distracted by the hustle, the demands, or the constant movement. Instead, you're sitting in stillness, looking back on your life and seeing how everything fits together. It's in those quiet moments that God whispers to your heart, revealing your true purpose. This is where the pieces of your life start to form a clear picture. The trials, the struggles, the victories, all of them were preparing you for the greater mission you were called to fulfill. Your purpose is the bridge between where you've been and where you're going. It's the thing that pulls you forward even when it feels like you don't have the strength. Your pain, your story, your lessons, they are not just for you. They are the building blocks of a purpose that will serve others, inspire others, and make the world better. It's the fuel that powers you through the hardest moments, and the key that unlocks the blessings you're about to receive. Here's the secret: when you know your purpose, nothing can stop you. Purpose is power. It gives you the strength to persevere, the courage to take risks, and the clarity to make bold decisions. It's the force that helps you rise when the world tries to knock you down. And isolation is where that power is revealed. You start to see how every piece of your life, every high and every low, has been leading you to this point. So, if you're in isolation right now and wondering why you've had to go through everything you've been through, know this: your purpose is being revealed. It's the key to everything that's coming next. The blessings you've been waiting for are not just rewards. They are the tools that will help you fulfill your purpose. The life you're meant to live, the impact you're meant to make, it all begins with this revelation. Embrace the process. Trust that your pain is not in vain. Your purpose is emerging, and with it, the strength, wisdom, and blessings that will allow you to walk in your destiny. You are exactly where you need to be. Stay focused, stay committed, and know that your purpose is about to take you places you've never imagined. Chapter 10: The Unveiling of the Blessing. There comes a moment of divine timing, when the silence breaks and everything you've been waiting for finally begins to flow into your life. The blessings you've prayed for, worked for, and endured for, they arrive. But here's the thing: you're not the same person you were when you entered isolation. You've been transformed. You've been prepared. And now you're not just receiving blessings, you're ready to steward them. This is the final revelation of the process, the unveiling of everything you've been working toward. You're not chasing blessings anymore, my friend. You're living as one. Let me tell you this, blessings are not just things that come into your life. They are an extension of who you are. When you've gone through the fire of isolation, your perspective changes. You no longer look at success or wealth or relationships as things to be acquired. Instead, you see them as extensions of your purpose, tools to help you fulfill your mission on this earth. And because you've been prepared, you can handle the weight of those blessings with grace and wisdom. Isolation is not just a period of waiting, it's a period of growth. It's the deep work, the behind-the-scenes preparation, that ensures you're ready for what's to come. And when that season ends, the blessings don't overwhelm you, they amplify the person you've become. When you step into the fullness of your blessing, it's not a matter of can I handle this, but how can I use this to elevate others? You've been equipped not just to enjoy these blessings, but to use them to create a ripple effect of positivity, growth, and impact. This is the moment you've been working toward. The waiting, the testing, the challenges, it all culminates in this. And I want you to realize something powerful. The best part about this stage of the journey is not what you're receiving, it's who you are becoming. The blessing is not an external gift. It's a reflection of the work you've done on the inside. It's the manifestation of your growth, your resilience, and your unwavering commitment to your purpose. The blessings you receive are not accidental. They are the natural outcome of who you have become. Here's the ultimate truth. When you're prepared, the blessings flow effortlessly. You don't have to chase after them. You don't have to force them. You don't have to manipulate circumstances to make them happen. Why? Because you are aligned. You are now living in harmony with the very things you've asked for. You've cultivated the character, the faith, and the mindset to attract and sustain them. You've stepped into the energy of abundance, and now you're living as a blessing yourself. So, when the blessings come, whether they're financial, relational, or spiritual, embrace them. Use them. Multiply them. Don't just sit back and bask in the glory of what you've received. Your role now is to steward these blessings with wisdom, integrity, and gratitude. The real power isn't in what you're given, it's in what you do with it. This is your time. You've earned it. And now, you are living not in pursuit of blessings but as a walking, breathing testament to God's faithfulness. You are the blessing, and through you, others will be touched, transformed, and elevated. You've gone through the storm. You've been shaped, molded, and prepared. And now you're ready to step into your greatness. The blessings have arrived. And you, my friend, are the vessel that will carry them with honor, wisdom, and purpose. So, step forward with confidence, knowing that everything you've been through has been preparing you for this moment. You are ready to receive and to give. And that's when life truly starts to flow.